Hi, Jesse here again. Talking about disaster situations. Um, if you have insurance, and I have dealt with many insurance companies when I was with the NGO, and I had to do a lot of advocating for my clients, my disaster clients. And the best insurance companies out there can be really great. And then some that seem to have been the best before you had a disaster are not always that great. First thing is there's several things to do. When you have a disaster, call your insurance company as soon as possible to get first in line, because everybody's going to be, if it's a local disaster and you're the only person, um, it's not always a big a deal. But even if it's a one house fire, some companies will say we'll be there in 40 minutes, and some might say we'll get to you in a couple of weeks. No, you need to bother them. You need to advocate for yourself and say, I'm waiting here, and when are you coming? And they need to get somebody out to you as soon as possible. You've paid them, that's their job. But they might not do it unless you are very stern with them. Um, so if you say you had a house fire or something like that, an insurance company usually, if you're covered for that, will have an allotment where they will pay for you to be able to go to a hotel. They will be able to give you money up front so that you can buy groceries and some clothing immediately. People do not know this and they're not aware of this. But you are not going to get this if you don't get in touch with your people right away and tell them that you need this now. So you need to advocate for yourself. This is also why I say that you need to make copies of your insurance company and the phone number and your agent, and put it in your phone, in your email, somewhere where you can reach it whenever you have a disaster. The other thing is that take pictures, if possible, take pictures of everything you have before you have a disaster. Everything you own, the property, the condition of the property, the vehicle, whatever you have, so that you can have before and after pictures. Because they're going to come in there and they're going to look at what you have, and they are going to determine what you've lost and what the damage is. And if there's nothing to start from, it's anybody's guess, what they're going to say. Now, the other thing is, yes, we want people to jump in there and take care of themselves. But if you go and clean up your entire house and everything before the insurance company sees the damage, then it possibly could limit how much help you get. So, I'm saying that if you're going to clean up anything, you've got to have pictures. Say you just had a flood, a disaster, or whatever, and you're standing in the living room, scan the room and take pictures of everything. You know, the destroyed TV, the destroyed furnace, all of these things. It has to be documented. And I really don't know if the insurance company will accept that as documentation or not. But if they come and your house is completely cleaned up, then I don't know what they're going to say if there's nothing for them to document. That being said, you are going to need to advocate for yourself with your insurance company. You're going to have to advocate and get in touch with them as soon as possible. You're going to have to push possibly to get them to you as soon as possible. You possibly will have to push to get immediate shelter and food and clothing. You have the right to do that. You've paid for that. Some companies are fantastic about that, and some are not. And you might also have to advocate every step of the way to get paid back or covered for all of your losses. And that's something you need to be prepared for. And at some point in your disaster, if your home is wide open to the public, where either people can get in and steal things or people could get in and get hurt, those things are all your responsibility. So some of the things that need to happen are your doors and windows all need to be boarded up and locked. And either you do that or a board up company does that. And you need to call your insurance company to find out who they work with, to make sure that they will cover that cost. Sometimes a board up company will show up at your disaster and be right there willing to do it for you. And that can be great. But you might want to find out from your company, first of all, get on the phone right away. They will even have a phone to call your company to say, hey, can I use these guys? To make sure you're going to be reimbursed. And if they will, do it. You need to get your building boarded up. You need the water shut off. You need the gas shut off. You should possibly have the electricity shut off. If you're leaving the property and it's just going to be a vacant property, you don't want anybody getting in there and getting hurt on your property. You don't want explosions going on because there were leaky gas lines. And you don't want what was a small disaster of a small fire making where you have a water leak in a pipe, then ruins every floor of the house because water was leaking for weeks on end after you left the house. So you want it boarded up, you want things closed up, shut down. And when it comes time to turn things back on again, it needs to be the real companies that do it. It needs to be the water company, it needs to be the gas company, it needs to be the electric company. It cannot be your cousin's, brother's, Bob's, friend's, Joe that comes over and sets up your electric. No. We are not talking about doing any jerry-rigging here. No. You've had a disaster. You don't need a worse disaster. It needs to be turned on and checked by the real electric companies, gas companies, and water companies. Let's see. Okay, so trying to see if there's anything else. Okay, so make sure that you get on board with your insurance companies. Some of the NGOs, if you are in a shelter, and you're with a charity type shelter, NGO type shelter, sometimes the caseworkers in that shelter, can get on the phone for you. And if they call your insurance company for you and say that they are there with you as a client, and when are they going to meet you at the house or going to meet with you at the shelter? That sometimes can be the push that an insurance company needs to respond to you. And I've done that for clients many times. So, be prepared for that and, take pictures of everything. Thank you. God bless.